Hello and welcome to the $1,000,000 Message. This is your Fearless Friday message with Callie DeBlander Brigham, calling from beautiful Pensacola Beach, Florida. This morning, we're going to talk about the value of struggle. But I'm also going to tease for you to listen all the way through because I am going to give you the tip/trick that I've been using for years to get people to call me back or text me back or message me back, the right people. Are you intrigued? I really, in particular, think this will be helpful as we go for our Million Hostess contest. I know you've been hearing some great messages this week about ideas and strategies and creative ways to make this happen for you. I hope you set your party goal, whether it is 10, 20, 30, 40 parties this month, blocking them together, getting creative, virtual, hybrid, in-person, whatever works for you, or maybe a 10-party week, or maybe a 20-party week now in this virtual world. So I hope you've set your goal for it and you are busy in the activity of making it happen. Have you checked the ticker? I was doing a virtual party last night, and we were getting referrals. We just have people nominate friends, and we were telling them that if they wanted to nominate and enjoy their follow-up session with at least 3 girlfriends, they could help us. So shared the screen to show, and we're only at a little over 3,000 parties. Now, I know many of us have not submitted our parties yet, and we're all just really getting the momentum going. But we have 3,000 parties in. We need to get to 1 million. So we've got a lot of work to do. Okay, so let me get started on the topic of the value of struggle. My kids go to a really amazing classical school here in the Pensacola area, and their headmaster writes a few articles on a blog for the school. And I read this one, and I just thought, he's speaking about education, but I just thought it was really valuable for those of us who have our own businesses, for those of us in sales, for those of us who, frankly, prefer the easier path. I mean, I'll just be honest. You know, many people, whether it's the get rich quick or the overnight thing, or even less of, that swing on that pendulum of, I just like it for, my first party to be amazing and then the rest of my parties in my life just to be great. But you know what? It doesn't work like that, does it? Not every team member becomes a superstar and does her great start. You get the drill. And so I wanted to read some of this blog post to you, and I want you to think about it through the lens of your personal and professional life. And he says, struggle is among the most important elements in the learning process. Learning a new thing, whether Greek or Latin, the kids at the kids' school learn Latin, knitting or fly tying, or let's bring it to our businesses, right? Virtual parties, how to get referrals now, or like I'm going to share with you, how to get people to message you back. It's hard work and requires some pain if it is to be done well. Excuse me, think of it this way. After learning something new, one is not the same person he was before he learned the new thing. He has undergone a metamorphosis. On this blog post, by the way, he does have the picture of the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. That process of change necessarily comes with some struggle and some pain. Teachers are constantly pushing their students through the metamorphosis every day, or directors are pushing their consultants. Students are hearing new ideas, grappling with them to understand them, practicing them on paper, being corrected, grappling again, writing again, being corrected again, and the process goes. Does that sound like anybody's start of or even current status of their Mary Kay business, right? Learning a new idea, trying to understand it, practicing it, tweaking it, trying to understand it again, practicing it again. When the student masters the new concept, it is the result of his working very hard with his mind, misunderstanding and correcting misunderstanding until it becomes clear. In other words, has anybody ever tried something and messed up? Yeah, me too, especially the last 6 months. But then I figured it out, just like you. It is the result of him making his best attempt to reproduce or otherwise employ the concept to create something on paper being corrected repeatedly until he gets it right. Through all of this, the student struggles inwardly with himself, struggles outwardly with the concept he's learning, and struggles alongside his teachers and classmates. I know we've all been in the same boat this last 6 months. The struggle to learn something new is hard work and even painful work, especially for a student, yikes, this part, who has to overcome his own laziness or lack of self-control. The work is painful. Most students who claim not to like school simply do not like to work hard with their minds so frequently. And he says there are exceptions, of course, but that's the general rule. Consider for a moment what is happening to the student who every day embraces the routine of learning described above. He is learning to persevere through difficult circumstances and even pain at times to accomplish something. He is learning to overcome his own laziness or lack of self-control or other things, frankly, that hold us back. He is learning to put away his pride. He's learning to work together with other humans. The struggle a good student goes through is sanctifying. And then he goes on to talk about how so often as a parent, we don't want to see our children struggle, right? It's either that we want things to be easier for them or we just want them to have peace, right? And in both cases, sometimes we rescue people, we rescue children from the struggle, right? And so I think that is very, very true in many situations. Maybe we try to rescue ourselves from the struggle. Maybe a well-meaning spouse or parent tries to rescue us from the struggle of Mary Kay when it's hard, when we're disappointed, and when somebody changes their mind, or when we hold a virtual event and we don't really seem to get results from it, or we've been making our booking calls and things aren't falling through. We have well-meaning people that just say, oh, you don't need this, maybe it's not worth it, or go back to doing what you were doing before, or spend time with us instead of what's on your weekly plan sheet with the business. But you know what? What they don't realize is in dismissing that, they might be dismissing so many more blessings to come when we value the struggle. And at the end of the blog, he talks about his 2 sons who are both getting married. He says he regrets when he's made the path easier. He said, of course, they're good men, but he realizes now that sometimes that practicing struggle allows them to have room to try and fail, to overcome, to be corrected, to get it right only after they've shed blood, sweat, and tears. And he says, struggle now so you'll grow up to become bold, courageous people who are capable of doing the hard things life requires. So is struggle easy? No. Struggle is awful and painful and hard and challenging. But is struggle worth it? It is. So I don't know what you're fighting for today. I call it the how can I spirit. I don't know what you're fighting for that feels like the can I. But I do know that just like my 4th and 6th grader are struggling maybe through a history lesson or literature or Latin that they're learning, that I know I could step in and try to ease it for them. But ultimately, I want them to experience the highs and lows that come from life. Oh, shameless plug, by the way. Our school is having a fundraiser. And today on my personal page, which is public, if anyone feels so led to support our school, there's a little fundraiser, and my kids are feeling pretty competitive too. So even if you want to drop $5 or $1 or whatever, and of course don't feel obligated. But they're recording a video this morning on their way to school. They have a very long commute now, if you're familiar with what happened down here where I live, a bridge being destroyed in the last hurricane. And let me also take a moment and say to our Texas and Louisiana Gulf Coast friends, oh my goodness, I've been praying nonstop, as this week I know has been one challenge after another, and another hurricane coming through. We love you all so very much. And I want to finish my call with saying, okay, turning the page, as we talk about booking these virtual appointments or coaching them, I think the most frustrating struggle at times is when we don't hear back from people. And I was training on something the other day, and I realized something that I do that I don't know that I've shared or shared in a while. And it came from when I was a newer consultant. I had done a bridal show. I had a bunch of leads, but I was going out of town like about a day and a half later. And I was calling all of them, but I knew that by the time it took for them to call me back or me to call them back, I was already going to be out of town and I needed a speedy response. And so on their voicemail, I left this message. And I said, I know you're just as busy as I am, but if you get a chance to respond before I try you again or before I call you back, I will give you a gift certificate just for calling me back. And that's what I said. Oh, my goodness, I couldn't believe it. All of a sudden, people started calling me back, and ever since then. Now, I don't use it in every situation, but if I really want to make sure, especially people that don't know me, or if there's a critical response needed, or I'm following up with somebody that I really want to know what their answer is, or I've got a time-sensitive goal, that's what I've used. So whether it's a text message, a Facebook message, a phone call, and I'll just say, I know you're just as busy as I am, but if you get a chance to respond before I try you again, I will give you a gift certificate just for calling me back. Now, what do I give? Oh, usually $5, And here's the beauty. Somebody that ghosts me on that is not somebody that was obviously interested in any way. But people that maybe's on the fence, maybe they're naturally busy and they're not good at responding, oh my goodness, they are going to respond. And now you do need to have an appointment with them because they've got a gift certificate to use with you. Don't you love it? So I hope this helps you today. I know it's something tiny, but I feel like so many times one of the biggest barriers is when people either don't get people to message them back or they get frustrated when people don't message them back. So I'll say it one more time. Basically, you say, I know you're just as busy as I am, so if you get a chance to respond before I try you again, I'll have a gift certificate for you just for responding or just for calling me back or just for texting me back. And oftentimes I'll say what I was going to say first, and then this might be a second message, like P.S., that I might send a couple minutes later. So it's not all in one big message, but it'd be like, oh, by the way, or P.S. So, all right, ladies, we've got a million hostesses to hold this month. We've got 3,000 in, a lot more to go. It's okay if there's a struggle today. Don't dismiss it. Don't ignore it. Push through it, and let's see what you can accomplish and we can accomplish together. Have a great day.